America, for too long, we have been consumed with too much division, chaos, and mutual distrust. And it can be easy then to forget a simple truth. It doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. It is time to stop pointing fingers. We have to stop pointing fingers and start locking arms. It is time to turn the page on the drama and the conflict, the fear and division. It is time for a new generation of leadership in America. And I am ready to offer that leadership as the next President of the United States of America.
You just heard a snippet of what Kamala Harris said last night, October 29th, on the Ellipse in Washington, D.C. She went on and on for about 50 minutes. I couldn't watch it. It was unwatchable. She told so many lies. I had to switch to 2.5 Men. But I just showed you a snippet of what she said about turning over a new page. There she is with the White House in the background where she's worked for the past 4 years. A new generation of leadership. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? She is this generation of leadership. She is a co-liar with Joe Biden. She has pointed fingers. She has agreed with Joe in that half this country, the MAGA crowd, of which I am happily a part, we're now garbage, we're extremists, we're fascists, we're Nazis, we're all of that. And this same woman says she's going to give us all a seat at the table. She's going to listen to us. She's going to embrace us even though we didn't vote for her. Can you possibly believe that? Everything out of her mouth is a lie. But now, let's bring up something perhaps even more important. Her running mate. Now, on August 9th, and I'm going to replay the clip, I told you about Tim Walz, the communist. Now, DHS, a whistleblower from DHS, has revealed to the House Oversight Committee that since August 6th, when Kamala Harris named Tim Walz to be her running mate, it's been known in the Department of Homeland Security that he is definitely under the thumb of the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. So James Comer, the House Oversight Committee chairman, yesterday on October 29th, released the internal Department of Homeland Security communications showing concerns about CCP targeting Tim Walz. And as I said before, on the day that Kamala chose him, August 6th, DHS officials were aware that the CCP was targeting Walz, a state governor, as someone who is perceived they can get to in D.C. Here's what I said on August 9th. You judge people by the company they keep. She chose as her running mate Tim Walz. The news has come out that he is guilty of stolen valor. He was not a command sergeant major in the Minnesota National Guard. He lied. He also said he was part of Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan. Another lie. The Stolen Valor Act of 2013 would put him in jail, in prison. Do you think he's going to end up there? No. But he's a communist. Watch this interview between Jesse Waters of Fox News and Peter Schweitzer, who knows more about China than anybody.
Peter Schweitzer is the president of the Government Accountability Institute. How suspicious are you of this Walz-China relationship, Peter?
Well, we're basically 48 hours into this, Jesse, and it's already quite disconcerting because what I would say the key component here is not just his ties to China, but his ties to the Chinese Communist Party. As you point out, he had this student exchange program. It was funded by the Chinese government. All exchanges by the Chinese government are managed by the CCP. And if you look at some of the local news reporting in the Midwest of students who attended that program, they explain how Walz told them that they were to, quote unquote, downplay their Americanness when they visited China, which is an odd thing to say if you're engaging in cultural exchange. I mean, you wouldn't say to a Chinese national coming to the United States, downplay your Chinese nature. So, this has all the hallmarks of a close association with the CCP. As you pointed out, he gave a speech in 2019 to a known United Front group that's linked to Chinese intelligence. We also know that when he was inaugurated as governor of Minnesota, he invited Chinese diplomats to attend those events. And then you've got the issue of these Chinese police stations that we've heard about. You've reported on them. There's 7 of them in the United States, these illegal police stations that are designed to intimidate Chinese nationals in the United States. One of them is in the Twin Cities. And it's actually run by an entity that is allied with something called Minnesota Global, which is a pro-Walz organization. Now, Governor Walz has denounced the police department in the Twin Cities for their brutality. He's done nothing about this unofficial Chinese police station. It just shows the willingness he will go to appease the Chinese government. And Jesse, the thing about it is you look at his statements on China, his defenders will say, oh, well, he raises issues of human rights in China. He really doesn't. He'll talk about an occasional case, but he engages in this ridiculous moral equivalence. On the anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre, when he was on the floor of Congress, when he was serving, he brought this up. He said, yeah, the Tiananmen Square massacre happened, but every country has done this sort of thing. And he brought up Wounded Knee in the United States. Now, in Wounded Knee, 38 Native Americans were butchered in 1863, and it became a national disgrace. In Tiananmen Square, 10,000 Chinese nationals were butchered. And in fact, the president of China now, President Xi's wife, who's a famous singer in China, she actually serenaded the troops after the massacre, applauding them for what they had done. So to equate the two and say somehow that Wounded Knee is like Tiananmen Square is a ridiculous comparison, and he knows better.
Yeah, and got married on the date of Tiananmen Square. Unbelievable. I mean, both incidents despicable, but not comparable. Great investigative reporting, Peter. You're the only one doing it. Thank God.
So you have to wonder why everybody's cheering and screaming whenever Kamala Harris enters the room. The people who are doing that have nothing upstairs. Nothing at all. Nothing. She and her running mate would destroy America, as I said in my last video. There's no question about it. Look at what she's done for the past 3.5 years with Joe. She's destroyed the economy. She's destroyed the border. She's the queen of inflation. We have rampant drug use in this country because of all of the criminals coming across our border and raping and killing women, committing crime everywhere. These two are a disaster. Because of Kamala Harris, this country has been invaded. As Donald Trump said, they've turned this country into a garbage can. You have families of Laken Riley, Jocelyn Nungaray, and Rachel Morin. They're the ones who are well known. They were raped and killed by illegals. The responsibility of Kamala Harris. She doesn't care about America. She said last night she loves America with all her heart. She said that she doesn't want the government to tell women what to do with their bodies. Meanwhile, during the COVID pandemic, she and Joe Biden forced pregnant women to take the COVID vaccine against their will or else lose their jobs. So they did not have control over their bodies. She's a liar. But take all of her faults, all of her evilness, step and put it aside and just look at her running mate. He's a communist. So the combination of this liar and this communist together, and by the way, her father was a Marxist economics professor at Stanford University. Extremely Marxist. Where do you think she gets all of those beliefs? She's a disaster, and he's a disaster. And together, they're a quadruple disaster. Just imagine what this country would look like 6 months after she sits in the Oval Office. Don't forget, it didn't take Joe Biden very long to destroy this country. It takes a long time to build something great and very little time to knock it down. Just picture this. You're at the beach. You spend hours and hours building a sandcastle. It's beautiful. And some kid comes along and kicks it down in 30 seconds. It does not take long to destroy anything. A long time to build it, very little time to destroy it. Think about that if you haven't already voted. You can't have a Marxist, the daughter of a Marxist professor who has never accomplished anything in her life, never had a real job, never had a paycheck that came anywhere other than from the government, has lied about everything, including working at McDonald's, growing up middle class, with 2 PhD parents. She plagiarized her book, Smart on Crime. She plagiarized congressional testimony. She is just a phony. She is the papier-mâché candidate. There is nothing inside. And combining with a communist, that's the end of America. Don't forget my words. You cannot vote for this woman. I don't care how many cheers she gets in the background for the morons on the ellipse who love her. Never forget the truth, because you'll never hear it from her and you'll never hear it from Tim Walz. This is Marc Rudov. Until next time.